Hi, I'm Mariah Mosqueda, and today I will be talking to you about why you should pay attention to the importance of communication and culture. I have read all of Chapter 4 of Culture and Communication in the book Understanding Human Communication by Ronald B. Adler, as well as having a stepmom in Colombia who was able to give me some insight about how the communication works in her culture. For our 3 key points, we have what is communication and culture, why you should practice effective communication skills, and how you can apply effective communication to your everyday life. So first off, what is communication? Communication is defined as the process of creating meaning through symbolic interaction. It is a process, it is relational, and it is symbolic. It is something you do with someone, not directly to them. And it isn't just verbal, it is also nonverbal, and some good examples of nonverbal would be our body language, facial expressions, how we talk and carry ourselves, etc. Culture is described as language, religion, and traditions and values, and the customs people learn and share together. In these cultures are also many co-cultures. Co-cultures are where somebody from a different culture is living in an American culture, but they're still practicing their same values and traditions and beliefs that they were raised in. So first off, we just kind of want to get the greetings out of the way. So in this top picture, we have 2 Colombian women, or in South America, that are greeting each other. Specifically in Colombia, women don't offer a handshake. They will lightly brush each other on the forearm or even the bicep. Just that's how they greet each other. If they know each other, they'll offer a hug, but if it's in a professional setting, it's more a brush on the arm. On this picture, we have 2 Japanese men, and then we have 2 men from another culture. In Japan, it is considered disrespectful to make eye contact with one another, so instead they look at each other's necks because it's still in that general region, and it keeps you guys intact with the conversation, but not necessarily looking directly at them. They also bow to each other. That is probably the most respectful way to say hi. In a lot of countries, most actually, men will greet each other with a handshake. In South America, men will, if they walk into a party or into the business room or whatever, and they have a woman accompanying them, they will go around and they will give everyone in the room a handshake, and then they will introduce the woman that is with them, but she will not introduce herself. A lot of the times, a handshake will say a lot about somebody. If you go and give somebody a handshake and they put their hand on top of yours instead of side to yours, that means that they're asserting dominance in the conversation, and that can be taken as a green flag sometimes, but it's also definitely a red flag, especially in certain situations that really isn't called for. So one of the bigger things that we want to talk about is how we communicate with our older generation. Us as the younger generation find the older generation to be a little more inadequate when it comes to communication, and so because of that, we decide to kind of dumb down how we talk to them. So in ways that we do that, we would talk louder and slower. We would use simpler vocabulary and grammar. We use a higher tone of voice to talk to them. We'll use pet names like sweet or honey or love or hun. And they don't really like that. I mean, maybe some of them, but majority of them are not. They're our elders. We are to respect them. So when we do that, just make sure you pay them the respect that they deserve. They're just like the next person. We also have to remember that the older generation has taught us a lot, and they have way more knowledge than we do. They have lived way more life than we do. So why not give them the respect that they deserve? They know more, and we learn from them. So it just makes sense, right? Communicating with people that have disabilities. This one is a huge one. We often point out their disability or notice their disability before we notice who they are as a person, and that kind of takes away what makes them happy, their hobbies, what they like to do in their free time. So when we meet somebody with a disability, some ways to be respectful with when we talk to them would be to talk directly to them than the person that is accompanying them. It just makes them feel like they're a person and that they're active in the conversation. If you volunteer to help them, wait for their approval. We don't live in their shoes and we don't know what their day-to-day life is like, so just make sure that they're ready for you to help them and they can give you the proper instruction. Another thing is that a lot of them, their main source of support is their wheelchair. So make sure not to lean on it or move it whenever you feel like, because they may not like that. A big thing in this culture is that stereotyping is very, very common. So be sure to not let their disabilities distract you from who they are. We are all the same. We all enjoy laughing and having fun, so make sure you focus on that. You should practice effective communication for different cultures because it helps you build a relationship and helps you learn about the person, where they came from, and why they believe and practice what they do. Some ways that you can apply effective communication to your life is by keeping an open mind, allowing room for ambiguity, spending time with others from different cultures, and educating yourself on their culture. Having an open mind as well as allowing room for ambiguity just helps you be ready for change, and a lot of people are very uncomfortable with change. So when you allow room for change and ambiguity and keep an open mind, you may learn a new language, you may learn a new introduction, a new greeting.
Connected.
Tons of different things. So keeping an open mind is super, super important, and allowing room for ambiguity. Another huge thing is being patient and determined. This is a whole new culture. You grew up in something completely different than these people. So it's definitely going to take some time to get used to and to learn about it, and make sure you're being respectful with how you talk to people and how you greet each other and how you work your way through the new culture. So don't worry about it. Give yourself some grace. It's a lot to take on. Usually when you try to adapt to a new culture, you kind of go into a culture shock, and it's just you're moving way too fast and it's a lot to take in at the same time, and it's a very common thing. It's not something to be worried about. It's very, very normal. With that being said, thank you. I would like to personally thank you all for taking your time to listen to my presentation, and hopefully by the end of this presentation you should understand what communication and culture is, know why you should practice effective communication skills, and know how you can apply effective communication to your everyday life. Thank you.